This week, the Druids are going to give us their insight on caretakers. And I'm Catherine. I'm a channeler of the Druid consciousness. And each week, I bring forth questions and topics that come from followers and subscribers. So if you have a question or topic that you would like the Druids to give their insight on, please follow, subscribe, and either send it to me in an email, a DM, or follow our newsletter, and you can respond to a weekly post. So this question came from Anne. And Anne is a caretaker right now, and here is her question. She goes, there's times when I'm caring for my mom for long periods of time, and I want to help her, and I feel for her. She has many health issues, and she's dealing with pain and aging issues. I often find I end up angry and resentful. I know this is affecting what I draw into and create in my life. How can I stay positive and keep a high vibration when dealing with these difficult situations? So I'm sure this is something many people can relate to. Being a caretaker can put a lot of pressure and stress on us as the person that's doing the caring. And it also is stressful for the person that's being cared for, because many times they're not used to having someone care for them. It's hard for them to let go of that control or be willing to let someone else do something for them. So let's see what the Druids have to say about this. There are times of transition in everyone's life when you may need to reverse your roles, for it happens naturally with the aging process. For those that were the parent and took care of their children, it shifts so that now the children have to take care of the parent. And it is difficult for all sides because the child who is now caring for their parent is struggling because it's not what they wanted. It's not on the path of their life. They're still young. They're still doing things. They have a life of their own. And it's also difficult for the parent because they don't want to sometimes rely on someone else. They want to do everything on their own. So it is about accepting that shift of a placement of each. What are the roles that each person is taking on? And that will truly help each of you to be able to say, I can accept that we need to shift in where we are at. That I, as a child, are going to assist my parent in that manner. And so when you can shift that energy around it, when both sides can shift that and understand that their roles are now different now, that is when things can become slightly simpler. Now, there are those people that just cannot accept that they need help and support. And so sometimes that is part of their path. That is part of what they wanted to come into this life to experience. That they were the ones that did everything. They controlled, they made sure things were completed how they would be, they lived their life and they did it as they should. And it can be sometimes that they have this experience now where they have to rely on someone else because they were never able to receive assistance. It had to be their way. It had to be done a certain way. No one could ever do it right. And so sometimes it is part of that experience that is up to them to have because they wanted to have that learning. They wanted to understand the duality of life, the duality of I can do it all and then I can't do much. And you find that a lot when you look at a child and they're very independent. They're saying, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to put on my shoe. And you're like, well, it might take us an hour, but they're going to put that shoe on, or it's going to be on the wrong foot. Or maybe it's not even the right shoe, or it's not their shoe. But it's about understanding that those thoughts go through. So it's about having that connection that this is part of who they are. But when you get someone who does get frustrated with that, who is very set in their ways, in that it makes you being angry, it is how you can understand that there are times when you need to step back and recharge your own energy. You need to understand that you are here to support them. And what is your boundary? What is your boundary? Are you going to give, and you just leave every time feeling drained and tired and resentful and mad? And maybe wishing that something that they would just be able to go somewhere else, or another family member would come in and take that on. And so you have to figure out, what is your boundary? How far will you go before you say, no, I'm not doing this? That this isn't conducive to my life. Because when you start taking care of someone else, it is the same thing when you take care of a child. You give your all to them. You change much of what goes on in your life. But children are flexible, and they'll be able to adjust and change. Well, now we're going to go to bed at this time instead of this time. And they just move, and a lot of them can move with the flow a little more. But it's about with someone who's older, who has their own routine, who has their own ways. They're very set. So it's about, what is your boundary? Are you saying, I will be here from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. each day, and this is when I'm here to help you, or I help you get out of bed and I will help you get back into bed. But I can't spend 14 hours here doing every little thing for you. Oh, you need this moved. Oh, you need this. Oh, you want this for dinner. Let me make you this meal, let you do that. It is when you become to give all of yourself that you will find that resentment can come. Now, what you have to figure out, what your boundary is. What is it that you have? And we hate to say it in this way, but if you are going in and working for this person, because in a way you're giving of your time to them. So when you're giving of your time and your work, how much of it are you willing to give? Because if you were to hire someone to come in, they would say, well, I'm here from this time to this time. These are the things that I do. This is what I'm willing to give of myself. But when it's a family member, you're asked to give more. You're asked to give everything. Well, you can give up that dinner with friends. Well, you can go and make something special for dinner for our parent who is ill. Or you can just turn a blind eye to the fact that that maybe they need additional assistance. But it's about, how much are you willing to give where you're not depleting yourself? Because when that resentment comes in, when that anger comes in, that is when this truly can become a bigger issue, because now you're pushing that energy on them. You're not here to support them, and you are creating a different energy and karma back to yourself. Perhaps it's not what you're looking for at this point in time. So it is about truly seeing, how can you shift into all of these things? How can you say, this is what I'm willing to give, this is what I can do, and if I can't do the rest, then you need to find a solution for yourself. So to the parent, well, maybe you need to have someone come in. Maybe you need to go into another place to live. Maybe you can't live on your own. Maybe you need to switch where you live. Maybe you can't live in a home that has steps, and we need to move you to a place without steps. Whatever it is, it's about you coming up with, what is your boundary. Because when you can lay out your boundaries and you can say, no, this is what I'm willing to do, this is where I'm at, that is when you will come to find that you yourself in your life will become easier. Because you'll know, I'm just going there for this time, or I'm just doing this, or on this day, I just drop off a dinner and I leave. I don't stay. So it's about finding, what is that balance. And there's many others in the world that will say, or in your family that will say, well, no, you're expected to do this. This is what society does. This is what we've always done. This is what they did. This is what their wishes are. And when you get the thought of, this is what's expected, or society, that is where you have to say, but that doesn't work for me. That if that's what you want to do, and this is what society, then the rest of society needs to come in, then the rest of the family needs to come in. But this is where I sit. In the same way, when they say, well, these are their wishes. Well, but would they really want you to give up your entire life and to deplete yourself to take care of them? And we know there's many about you going, yeah, they would. And in those cases, that's when you have to look at boundaries. What are you willing to do? Are you being guilted into doing something? Are you being shamed into doing it? Are you saying, well, they took care of you your whole life, so you need to do for them? But it's about saying, how much are you willing to give? Because the last thing you want to do is have someone who is ready to transition into the next life decide to depart, and all you think of is relief for yourself. Because that is not healthy for you if you're going, oh, thank God. And then you feel bad, and then you feel guilty. Well, I shouldn't feel that way because I miss them. But it is about saying, this is what I'm willing to do, and this is where it is. And making sure the time you're there with them is truly about standing in and having that quality time. talking with them, thinking about what they can do. And sometimes it can just be assisting them. Perhaps they had a knee replacement or a hip replacement, and you go, okay, I just have to do this for a month. Well, take that and really make sure you hold to that. I'm just here for a month, or I'm just here to help you with your exercise or to cook a meal. That is when you need to have this shifting. And so, for each of you that are going through these times, this is no different than when you are feeling very stressed or burnt out from a job, from a family member, from the stress of maybe it's financial or health related. It's about saying, this is the energy I give to this. This is what I have. These are my boundaries. The same way with a job, you can say, no, I'm not working that extra shift. I've already worked 3 this week. Or I have something with my family. I can't do it. You say, this is my boundary. And maybe they say, okay, maybe we need to go on different paths. And you say, that's fine. This is my boundary. I am going to align and work for a job that will respect it. I'm willing to give myself. I'm willing to give up. I'm willing to help out. I'm willing to work what I committed to. But I can't have these higher expectations from it. That is where my boundary lies. And sometimes, yes, boundaries need to adjust and shift. You might say, okay, this week I'm going to do extra, but next week I really can't. My family's in town. And another coworker says, don't worry, I got next week. If you can handle this week, I'll handle next week. So it's about saying, where is it at? What am I willing to do without others putting pressure on you and telling you things that need to be? And so this is where it can become difficult, because boundaries are something that the world right now is saying, well, no one should have. Well, you can do that. Well, you can help out. You are expected to give, 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 give. But no one ever says, well, what have you done for yourself today? You don't see a mom who looks just frazzled. She's got her kids running around. She's trying to keep everything together and keep the kids at school and family things going and doing all of the things that she's expected. And no one says to her, what have you done for yourself this week? Instead, they say, well, did you get the costume that you were needed for their dance recital? Or, were you able to make sure you took them to this new park? And she's thinking, that's the last thing on my mind. I have too much to worry about. And so that is when we give, 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 and it's about that receiving. It's about that cycle. It's about the giving and receiving, which keeps the wheel moving and keeps the energy flowing. And so this is something that is very important for all of you, is that you have to give, you have to receive, but it's also about a shifting of where is each individual being at. What are you looking for? Where are you going? And how do these parameters come in? So to take it back to the question of when you have a family member you are caring for and you're feeling burnt out, it is about you first need to say to yourself, what is my boundary? And what will I be okay with if this family member passes? Or if I don't see them again tomorrow? And don't say, well, then I should do all I have to at the cost of my own health, at my own happiness. Because when you walk in sad, depressed, angry, frustrated, that's the energy in the room. So that person feels that. And then they're giving that back. So you're bouncing back this frustrated energy. So it's about saying, hey, I'm going to come tomorrow and I will be here from 8 a.m. to noon. And I'm going to help you get up and get you breakfast, and I'm going to get dinner made for you, but it's going to be up to you then to reheat it in the microwave, or maybe you make a salad and you say, I'm going to put it in a bowl, just grab the bowl, and it's going to be up to you to then complete the rest of it. And when you get there, it's sticking to that. Hey, I'm going to have you sit here and read a book. Here, I'll bring you your coffee and your breakfast. We got you out of bed. Okay, now I'm going to go make your dinner for this evening while you read your book. If they say, no, but I need this or that, it's about relaying out. This time, let me get this dinner made because I am leaving at noon. This is what I stated. If you need something later on, you may call. But when you start to lay out expectations, when you start to lay that out, that will help. And then you'll find you can have those conversations, those fun conversations where everyone's upbeat and happy. And it'll be hard to keep that level up. But when you can go in saying, I know what my boundaries are, I'm going to exude this happiness, I'm going to look at that, I know when this is coming. And instead of saying, oh my gosh, I can't wait for the clock to hit noon, you say, I'm only here till noon. It will be fine. I will get all of this accomplished. And then you do that. But what's happening in this situation is there's much over giving. There's much saying, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I can work through that. And so that is part of what this shifting is for each of you. It's a part of you understanding that all of this is truly coming in, but it's also having a sense of, yes, this is how the shifting happens. And as all of these things really come in, it's about finding that balance. So when you are able to leave, even if you're feeling frustrated and angry and upset, go do something for yourself. Even if you're saying, I just need to, you know, take a deep breath. Maybe I'm going to go and, go take a quick walk through the park. Maybe you say, I'm going to go and make myself a special meal, or I'm going to call a friend and just laugh for a while. But go do something for you, whatever recharges your batteries to reset your equilibrium, to reset your alignment. And then you'll find that you are more happier when you go there because you'll be more aligned. Your work-life balance will be aligned. And so those stressful things will be offset by the happy things and the positive things. And that is all part of this. This is about you really embracing it and saying, yes, this is where I'm coming. This is where I'm going. So we hope you all have found some support in this and some assistance in this today. So look for those boundaries. Find things that you can offset, maybe some of that other energy, and look at it as this is what you're giving and how can you receive back. And maybe the receiving back is just the smile you get on their face when you walk through the door. But look for those things and know that you can shift this, but it is about you shifting your belief and your mindset first. Well, I see how this really calls in, and I've been there before. I've been in those situations where you're just giving, giving, giving because you're supporting someone else, and you just need that break. So take that time to find those things, even if it's 5 minutes a day. Hopefully, you can build that up a little longer. But lay out those boundaries and really say, okay, this is what I'm willing to do, and this is what I need from you. And see where you can make sure that you support yourself. Because this whole concept of giving and receiving is so important. And the Druids have talked about it a lot before. That when you aren't completing that cycle, the wheel won't move, the energy won't shift. You never get anything in return. So you might have to give yourself a little something in return, but just keep working for it and keep shifting into it. So I want to thank Anne for her question today. Something very relatable to many people. And I hope this gives her a little more clarity on how to move forward. So if you have a question, please feel free to send it over for all of our subscribers. And make sure that you follow and also hit that bell, as it will help the algorithm shift other people. And if you have something for the Druids that you want to talk specifically to them, and I do offer 60-minute channeling sessions where you can have a conversation with the Druids to ask them all of your questions to get everything back. So you can also find more information about that in my website or down below. With that, I hope you all have a wonderful, beautiful day.